If you've heard about Bridgerton Season 3 getting delayed, trust us, we are just as frustrated as you are. If this is the first time you're hearing of it, don't shoot the messenger, because we're here with you to get into the details and see what to expect. This won't go without a treat to make up for the bad news though, so stay tuned until the end for some behind-the-scenes moments that you don't want to miss. First off, the news of the delay isn't all that bad, although it might surprise you. A lot of times, artists sometimes have to wipe their canvases clean and start over, because they know what they're looking at isn't what they want. While it isn't entirely the case with Season 3, it's still a large part of it. The main issue came with the major plotline of the story, and Shonda Rhimes has some thoughts to share about it with disappointed fans. It's also important to realize that this situation is just as hard on her. We all know that there isn't much promise to stick to the books that Bridgerton is based on. The writers might take inspiration from the original story, but it's slowly becoming its own tale that many people believe is more mature and cohesive in comparison to the writ books. So, what's really happening? With Season 3 focusing on Penelope Featherington and Colin Bridgerton, there were some aspects to the story that were probably taking away from their romance and putting the already lighthearted reputation of the series at risk. From what an insider source told Mail Online, part of the story got very dark. And while we haven't received any more intel on the matter, we can kind of guess that it probably had something to do with either Penelope or the Queen, maybe both. Knowing how many people Penelope jeopardized socially behind her secret persona of Lady Whistledown, she's at a huge risk in a lot of ways, if not just socially. We have been told that it needs the fun back, added the source. If they're going to delay the show, it's only because it needs to be done right. Up next, never fear, Bridgerton 3 will still happen. It's still scheduled for 2023, which is a relief. From what we know, the delay might not even be that long, since the production was scheduled to wrap up sometime in late December of 2022. We can safely assume that the filming's pretty much completed by now. There's a lot of post-production work left to do though, and this might entail some reshoots as well if there will be some changes to the major plotline. But even with those changes, there's a prediction that it'll be done just in time for an early spring release. But there's something else on the way. Queen Charlotte, A Bridgerton Story, has also been in production for a 2023 release as well, and we're not sure if Season 3's delay will impact its release as well. But since the story it follows practically is a prequel, it shouldn't matter when it drops, right? If we get Queen Charlotte's story first, it might give Season 3 a much-needed breathing space to be released a little later. While fans speculate this could push Season 3 to drop around Christmas, we doubt Rhimes would go as far unless absolutely necessary. For now, a sneak peek into the backstage. None of us could sit still when we got the news that Bridgerton Season 3 was finally in the works, and the cast has been kind enough to keep us in the loop through it all, so we don't starve from waiting for the release. Here are some of the best moments from behind the scenes. Let's look at number 5. The It crowd comes together. Luke Newton posted a picture with co-star Nicola Coughlan and one of the writers of the show. Coughlan looks like she's glowing. Can we blame her? She's the main character. If anything, seeing her look so happy adds to the excitement of how good the upcoming season must be. Newton teases fans as he captions the picture, S3, you are not ready. Wrong, Colin Bridgerton. We've been ready ever since Season 2 ended. If anything, we're absolutely clamoring for closure, given how intensely it ended. But there are definitely a lot of things we aren't ready for, such as the consequences of Penelope's actions and how her friendship with Eloise is now strained. There are going to be so many awkward situations to navigate in the upcoming season, and half of us are already grimacing with the horror of it all. Penelope's story is definitely going to be the toughest and the most exciting one to sit through because of all the drama that's been built up in the previous seasons. There's plenty of good with the bad that we're waiting for, and the popcorn's getting cold. No matter how anxiety-inducing it'll be to watch, we are definitely ready. Up next at number 4, the Bridger Tan. Nicola Coughlan shows off her Bridger Tan, a term she uses to the sunburn she got during the filming of the show. We've seen how sunny it usually is in the show, so we're not surprised that sunscreen and makeup are no match for the long hours in the bright light of the sun. Coughlan is definitely taking the brunt of it, with this season focusing on her character's romance. Her workload's increased considerably. In the previous seasons, while she did have very important roles in the subplots in them, we doubt they required so much of her that it caused her a tan. Her sunburns got a specific shape to it too, because of the Regency dress's neckline, and we're sure there are plenty of jokes about how she'll have to equal out the tan over the summer, but it's great to see her hard at work and enjoying it. Oh, and before you go, we've got a little something about her new look for the upcoming season, so be sure to stick around for that. We're sure you'll be just as surprised as we were, but in a really good way. Trust us, you don't want to miss it. What's more, at number 3, Colin's closet gets a revamp. Fans got a first look at Colin's wardrobe back in July of 2022, but there wasn't much to make out in the black and white picture. Of course, he was only being considerate because why would he want to spoil his imminent glow-up look? Given that there's a time jump in the series, clothes won't be the only thing different about Colin. While there wasn't much of a focus on him in the previous season, especially because he was traveling traveling too much to even be shown on screen. We're sure we're going to get plenty of stories regarding his travels and how he's grown up through the years. In a way, Newton's sneak peek into his character, no matter how small the crumbs might be, is helping fans become a little more familiar with him. Of course, some might still be mad at him for the insensitive way he proclaimed that he wouldn't ever woo Penelope, but we can't wait to see him eat his words, and maybe choke on it. Penelope better play hard to get and give him a tough time in the upcoming season. After being neglected and sidelined for so long by her family, we want to see Penelope being chased and wooed in all the ways she deserves. Now, for at number 2, Kate Sharma will definitely be making a comeback. Not like we didn't know this already, but we were wondering just how prominent her role would be. If we're to look at Daphne's presence in season 2, there isn't much to go on other than the beginning and the ending. She played a pretty pivotal role in the last few episodes when it came to scolding Anthony for his blindness for the affection he held for Kate Sharma. But wow, season 2 sure was a mess, and now we're wondering just how much of it is going to seep into season 3. The hilarity of it all kept the show becoming simply about two hotheads who were playing tug of war about who's the more intellectually and emotionally superior. Imagine how much tension we're going to get given Penelope's and Colin's feelings. There's also been talk about how the steam in this season's gonna be amped up compared to the other seasons, and half of it probably has something to do with the push and pull dynamic that we'll see between the new couple of the Bridgerton universe. We're really stoked, as if getting to see the cast in new and aged up looks wasn't already exciting enough. Coming up at number 1, a shot of the couple of the year themselves. It's becoming more real each day, and the actors themselves weren't entirely prepared for the possibility until now. Coughlin admitted that she didn't take Penelope's eventual love story very seriously because she believed there was still a lot of time before it would finally unfold on screen, so Newton and her would often joke about their characters. As time went on, it became less funny and more intimidating when it became apparent that their jokes would no longer be jokes anymore. Honestly, we get it. Being friends with your co-star and suddenly finding out that you'll have to get intimate with them and having very little time to prepare for it mentally is probably super awkward. Actors find themselves in surprising positions all the time, but it's something she's becoming comfortable with over time. The upgrade from the supporting character to the main character was terrifying for her, but we've got no doubts that she'd be killing it. Finally, the absolute glow-up Penelope got for this season. The crumbs from behind the scenes did not have us expecting to see Penelope's transformation for the coming season, and we're absolutely stunned. Embodying everything feminine and beautiful, Penelope's new look had our jaws dropping, and it also indicates that people will now begin to take her more seriously than ever, and we can't wait. This might be the best makeover we've seen in the history of makeovers. Gone is the innocence, and now we're met with a strong, independent, and headstrong woman who knows exactly what she's looking for. Her new look makes the news of the delay a little more frustrating, but Penelope deserves a fun, lighthearted, and justified romance just as anyone else, and we'll happily sit tight and wait for it. And cut! Now that we've wrapped up, we'd like to know what you think. Let us know in the comments below. If this is the kind of content you like, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and head down to the subscribe button. Never miss any updates.